We all know who Joe Rogan is, the world-famous commentator and more recently podcaster with his own show, The Joe Rogan Experience, where every several minutes he'll break out into some kind of weird tangent that usually ends with him screaming like a demonic possessed monkey.
Like all of a sudden I'd be trying to prove that I'm not crazy when I knew I wasn't crazy.
Right. But regardless of your opinion on Joe, he has a huge plethora of guests, like for example, physicist Brian Cox, Edward Snowden, Elon Musk, Kanye West, Alex Jones. Okay, what? He's probably had some more controversial characters on, definitely. I mean, if you put some of them in, like a Warzone voice chat, some of them will be getting banned for what they say before others. Let's put it that way. But my personal favorite Joe Rogan podcast episode is when he gets Joey Diaz on. If you don't know Joey Diaz, Cuban-American comedian, he is amazing. My personal experience with Joey Diaz before appearing on Joe Rogan was him doing these big motivational speeches. For example, he'd give you Monday motivation, to kick the ass out of the week by basically saying that anyone that talks about the weekend and how funny it was, you should cut them off because they're complete parasites.
It's Monday, suckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, my friends are so fun. Go yourself. That was then, this is now. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand me?
All while, might I add, he's smoking out of a tobacco pipe like some kind of 1940s grandfather. Truly the modern Hippocrates of our time. There's actually a compilation of the best of Joey Diaz on the Joe Rogan show, and that is like 45 minutes. They basically clipped every single instance of Joey Diaz speaking and said, you know what? That'll go in the episode. No. That will go in the episode. Mostly because anytime he speaks, he has this incredibly aggressive Newark accent. And he speaks liquid gold, even if you don't really understand what he's saying. Joey Diaz was such a huge personality, I gaslit myself into thinking he was a character on The Sopranos. He's not. I'm surprised he's not. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't really listen to the Joe Rogan podcast much. I think the only episode I listened to in full was when he had Mr. Breast on. And that entire episode was basically just talking about his business model, how much money he made. And it was a very sobering experience because it really reminds you that no matter how well you think you're doing in life, there's always someone doing it a million times better than you, making all your efforts, for the most part, completely pointless. Now, Joe Rogan, like most professional podcasts, he has people in the background, producers, managers, cameramen, audio engineers, everything to make sure the podcast goes absolutely smooth sailing. For example, if there are two guests, one might speak quieter than the other, those audio levels need to be engineered and manipulated during the actual recording or it will be a useless session. But one of the most important roles that you can have on any of these podcasts is a researcher, someone that basically navigates the podcast to make sure that people aren't talking about a topic too long or saying anything that's redundant or factually wrong that will probably be used against you later. Now, even though Joe Rogan does have researchers and people that, guide him along the podcast, this story somehow escaped all of them because Joe Rogan went on this tangent that I'm sure you've seen in a couple news articles. There were two people fighting at the Creator Clash boxing event that was organized by iDubbbz and iDubbbz's wife. Two of the people in the boxing match was Matt Watson and the YouTuber Dad. They went head to head and Joe Rogan thought that they were actually a father and son duo. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan podcast, Rogan relayed a terrible tale about a father v son boxing match he'd recently watched. He described the fight as a sad affair as the father was apparently beating the shit out of his own child and even celebrating after knocking him down. Now, reading that in of itself is absolutely hilarious, but watching Joe Rogan relay this tale and basically burst into tears over it, he should have got an Oscar.
It made me so sad. It made me so sad because there's this young kid. He looks like he's probably like 17 or 18.
He's like 28. Matt Watson, he's older than me. What do you mean he looks like 17 or 18? How are you going to say he's like 17?
And the father's 42. And the father beats the shit out of him. I mean, like, dings him in the head and keeps punching him. I'm like, that's your son.
That's your
son. And we're watching you beat your son up. Because I get your son probably got cocky with you, and he celebrates after he knocks his son out. It made me so sad. First of all, I'm like, that kid has brain damage now. 100%.
What?
Maybe it's just a little.
Where did that come from? Brain damage, what?
Maybe you fucked him up. That can happen too. He might be depressed from now on after that. He might fuck up his.
Wait, where's the CSI analysis coming from? The post-medical exam.
Okay, let's have a little boxing match. You don't tee off on your son's face on television. It's crazy.
How old was the kid?
Kid looks young. To me, he looks like, he could be 20. He could be 19. He looks young. He's real skinny. And the father's kind of jacked. Not too jacked.
He's skinny, but the father's jacked.
And he could fucking punch. He knows how to box. And the son doesn't look like he has any idea what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what the thing was. Like, someone sent it to me, and they were like cheering that this old guy knocked his son out. I was like, you guys are crazy. That you failed. You failed as a man. Yeah, this is it.
That's not exactly what was happening.
It's not? What is it?
They're not father-son.
Oh, why does it lie? It says father knocks out son in celebrity boxing match.
Gotta get somebody to click on this.
Oh.
This was like a YouTuber thing. This guy's a YouTuber, and he's a YouTuber.
I'm such a sucker.
Oh, that's so good, man. That's so good. Again, it's pretty obvious they're not father and son. I think apart from the YouTube video, Joe got confused because one of the YouTubers, his actual professional name is Dad, or like one of his characters. So it can be a little bit confusing. Now, this YouTuber Dad, not many people know who he is, but he's been around for a while, since at least like 2008. He was on Comedy Central. He sold his shows to like Amazon and Nickelodeon. He was even on Game Grumps at one point as a guest. And I think he was involved in the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. This is one of those people who has been behind the scenes in YouTube, just the internet in general, for a very long time. Now, the reason why he's called Dad is because a couple years ago, he created this character called Dad. It's kind of like this ARG, almost like PetScop, like a game within a game, an alternate reality game. And the character Dad was really successful for him because at the time he was considering, I think, like moving into his van or something because he didn't have the funds. But thankfully, the Dad character was successful. He also has other characters as well. I think one is called like Keith Apicary or something. And during that, he actually went on to, I think, America's Got Talent. And he got 4 yeses for his character. And this character is wildly different from the Dad character. And Matt Watson. Do I really have to explain to you who Matt Watson from Super Mega is? He is the guy in that viral tweet of the guy drinking a beer from his iPhone. He's the guy who walked around Japan saying sir to everyone.
Sir, 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 sir. Sir?
Now, if you don't know who Matt Watson is after those two very obvious explanations, firstly, you need to be on the internet a little bit more. Let me give you an example of something that you will know Matt Watson for. He's the person who many years ago sent a video to Shane Dawson saying that he's very sorry that Shane Dawson's grandmother died.
Hey Shane Dawson, I'm really sorry about your grandma.
But yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. I just thought it was funny to talk about. The fact that you have this multi-million-dollar podcast with so many researchers and people back-ending it to make sure that everything is legit and correct. And then a story like that sneaks through and you have Joe Rogan gaslighting himself into thinking that it's true, like shedding tears on a story that he essentially made up in his own head.